Incoming transmission.
Welcome, watchers of Illusion, to my Castle of Confusion. It's the 19th of January 2017, and I've got an arcade conversion for you on the Master System. Yes, it's good old Street Fighter 2, but on the Sega Master System, and I'll just pop the arcade one up in the top left for you to compare. Alright, so let's get cracking. We've got all the characters here. We've got Ryu, Ken, Chun-Li, Guile, Blanka, Balrog, and the other two, which I can't, for the life of me, can't think of them, and I've just seen them whiz past the screen. Never mind, let's pick Ken and let's crack on. Okay, right, well, the sprites look alright, I suppose. They don't too bad. Oh yeah, I'm playing as Ken, by the way. Alright, my first thing is that these controls are horrible. This game is not designed for a 2-button pad. That is shockingly obvious from the first couple of seconds I got into this. But other than that, you know what? The animations aren't bad. They're a little bit on the quick side, but I think that's due to the size. It's kind of sped them up a bit. And there's quite a lot of background stuff that's been omitted as well. But you know, you can forgive that because the Master System wasn't as powerful as, say, the Mega Drive or the SNES or anything like that, which is what this game came out on with the multi-button configuration pads. But you know, sprite-wise, apart from them being smaller, they actually look quite good. I mean, they're recognisable as Ken and Ryu, aren't they? I mean, you know, that's not bad at all. But trying to pull off these special moves is an absolute dog. Sound-wise, it's kind of all over the place in a way. There's only one connection noise for whatever punch or kick you manage to land. It's not fantastic. But, you know, you've got to sort of forgive it in a way because the Master System just did not have the power to produce an arcade-perfect replica here, or conversion. But, you know what? It's still better than the Amiga version, and the Amiga version was, you know, had arcade-perfect sprites, but the gameplay was absolutely horrific. Now, the thing with the Amiga, that only had a 1-button joystick, and that kind of had the same issues as this does, with pulling off special moves is an absolute nasty situation. It just does not correspond to your control pushes at all. Actually, no, the half moon round to the left or right, whichever way you're facing, and your punch or kick buttons just does not give you. So I'm actually, if you see me just wildly punching the air or trying to kick nothing, that's actually me trying to pull off a special move like the tornado kick or the fireball. It just seems to happen whenever it wants to. It doesn't correspond with whatever you're doing. But I mean, that I think is my major issue with this game, because if you can't pull off the special moves, it's not really Street Fighter, is it? It's just two guys punching and kicking each other, and that's kind of an issue for me. But I mean, some people might like that. The grab seems to be missing as well. You know, when you're getting close to someone, you can just pick them up and chuck them across the screen. That seems to be missing as well, which is a shame. I mean, it's a bit unfair to compare it to the arcade original, isn't it? But at the end of the day, that is what they are basing it on. It is Street Fighter 2. It's not Street Fighter Redux or Street Fighter Reconfigured or anything like that. It is Street Fighter 2. Now, I think they've done the best they possibly could do with what they had, with the limitation of the hardware and the pad only having 2 buttons. I mean, I don't think the NES... Actually, no, the NES did come out with a version of Street Fighter. I must dig that out and have a look at it. But I'm sure that came out with a version of Street Fighter as well, and it was done a little bit better. I mean, it wasn't arcade perfect by any stretch, but they certainly didn't try and emulate it. And that's, you know, that's kind of what they've tried to do here. And hats off them for them trying. I mean, I'm not going to take any points away from them actually trying to put this monster of a game onto the Master System. But I don't know, maybe a bit of an easier configuration for the attacks would have been better. You know, I mean, there is a start select button which they could have maybe used that to from kicks to punches, maybe, I don't know. I seem to remember, I think ER Kung Fu on the Spectrum had something like that, where you could push the spacebar and you went from punching to kicking. So maybe that could have been an alternative option, and it might have made this game a little bit more fluid. The other issue I've got is it's slightly too fast. Now, I know that Street Fighter 2 Turbo and all that came out where, you know, you could set speeds and everything else, but this isn't. And sometimes it's just a bit too quick for its own good. Animation-wise, it's not that bad. You know, again, you've got to remember this is a Master System, not a Mega Drive. So the sprites are smaller, the backgrounds, as you can see, there's a lot of backgrounds missing. It's very minimal. But I think, you know, maybe if they put a bit more background in, it would have slowed it down sufficiently enough to make it feel a bit more like a Street Fighter game. Now, you can see there that the big roundhouse kicks there, those are present in the game, in the arcade version and subsequent home versions, but that's really about all you've got, is just the punch and the kick. Because, like I said, trying to actually pull off a special move, it's like swimming in treacle. It's just not going to happen. You know, it's sluggish. It doesn't respond well to what you're doing. The intro music is really horrible, I have to say. And I know you only see that on the intro screen, or actually you can hear it on the intro screen, I should say, not see it, but the music on the intro screen is horrific, and it really does hit those eardrums in a really, really high-pitched manner. And I mean, some people may like it, but I'm really surprised if you do. And you can see here, you know, the characters are recognisable. They've done a pretty good job with that, I have to say. You know, that is Chun-Li. But without the background animations, those guys are just like in awe of what you're doing. I mean, that guy should be literally, excuse the expression, choking that chicken, but he just seems to be just holding it by the throat, and it just seems to be a little bit, you know, nasty. Now, I think I found a bit of a bug here. I don't know if it's a bug or not, but if you push them into the corner, you can just lay waste to them in the corner. You don't actually need to do much else, but just trap them in the corner and then just do low sweeps on them. Let's see if I can do it again, just to prove that wasn't a fluke. Let's kick the hell out of her again. But I mean, to be honest, the special moves are present, as you can see there. She's got her multi-kick there. She just did the fireball. Whether or not she's got the spinning bird kick, I'm not quite sure. But it looks like they've tried to cram as much in as possible. And maybe that's the fault. I could understand it maybe if they'd have taken a couple of moves out. I mean, they may have done. I'm not going to explore this game massively. I mean, I'm playing it through. This is initial feedback you're getting for this game. But yeah, it's the controls that let this down majorly. Sound isn't fantastic either, but then, you know, was the sound ever that good for the Master System? I don't remember it being, and I did have a Master System and a NES, so I wasn't one of these Sega Nintendo fanboys. It was, you know, I had both, so, you know, both sides of the fence, so I could look at things equally back then. It's great actually coming back and seeing some of these games again. Some I haven't played for years anyway, and I was like saying to someone earlier on my Facebook page that sometimes these games, when you replay them, are as good as you remember, and other times the rose-tinted glasses have completely fallen off, and they're not as good by a long shot. But this is one of those games which kind of, you know, if you wanted Street Fighter 2 and you only had a Master System, I think you'd be fairly pleased with this. I don't think you'd be too chuffed that the computer seems to pull off all the special moves and you're stuck there floundering like a fish out of water. But, you know, it's I wouldn't even say it's a minor problem, it's a major problem. And that's going to cost this game some major points. Other than that, you know, it is Street Fighter 2. The animations are okay. You know, it's fairly fast, so you get that arcade sort of quality to it. The characters are recognisable, the graphics aren't bad, the sound is pretty poor, so again, that's going to cost it points as well. But, you know, they've tried to keep it as faithful to the arcade version as they possibly can. And hats off to them. I just wish they'd done a better control system than what they did. Other than that, this game is Street Fighter 2, and it probably would have been your only option if you didn't have a Mega Drive or a Super Nintendo, which actually did an arcade perfect translation of the game. So that's nice, isn't it? Anyway, folks, I'm going to leave it there. That has been Street Fighter 2 on the Sega Master System. This has been the Retro Revival Show for the 19th of January, and I will catch you again real soon with a brand new video. Take care, remember to like, share and subscribe, and I shall be back soon. Bye for now, folks!